On today's episode, Mike and Ryan discuss Boozy advent calendars and what the perfect version of that might look like. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Brewthers-In-Law podcast, where beer is thicker than water. Join us on a journey discovering home brewing, craft beer, and more. My name is Mike, and with me, as always, my brother-in-law, Ryan. Hello again.
Hello again.
This feels weird. I feel like we've just said hello.
Deja vu, almost.
Possibly had lunch together. Yeah. So let's dive right in. So it's Christmas time. Not right now, but when you're listening, it will
get
be.
there, yeah.
And, well, we're ramping up to Christmas time now. It's starting to be cold. It snowed the other day.
Did it really?
Yeah, at work 2 days ago. So that'd be like November 3rd at time of recording, I believe. It snowed.
I know I saw some like videos of snow in like Gaylord or something like that up a little more further north, but like.
I want like a month more of like proper fall.
I know. Well, it's supposed to warm back up, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Because I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to get one more brew in before it actually like freezes and gets cold. But I think I'm going to get it.
If you ever want to come over and just like do your brew at our house,
it's the border.
I will happily.
It'll be the Kerwick border, my friend.
I'll keep you warm and I'll keep your thirst quenched. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All kinds of. I will serve you beer and give you a coat.
Yes, thank you.
Let's be very. That came off really wrong. Okay, so because Christmas is coming around, we wanted to tackle a kind of fun topic surrounding Christmas, which is the rise of the Boozy advent calendar. This is something Ryan and I have both participated in for the last few years, and we have lots of thoughts about it, which we want to kind of hash out. So for the first sip, Ryan, I would like to know, advent calendars are a unique thing. So if you are religious, if you are like Christian, I don't think it's just Catholic, but like there's also Lent, right? Which is also a countdown to a holiday.
Yep.
But it's not really a countdown to a holiday in like a culinary way. Like with advent calendars, there's this rich tradition of like treats, whether it's chocolate or, beer, which we're going to get into.
Yep.
There are kind of like all these little culinary treats associated with the holiday that you're sort of leading up to. So what I want to know is, if there could be a kind of month-long countdown like that involving food or drink to a different holiday, to another holiday, one other holiday during the year, what holiday would you pick and why?
I mean, there are obvious ones.
You can pick Easter if you want.
I mean, what does Easter lead to except for just like a large amount of food, right? Which I guess part of Christmas is as well. But,
and presents.
And presents, yeah. I mean, you got Easter egg hunt, so technically you get presents there. But I was actually going to say, and this is kind of a cop-out because it's already being done, but like Halloween is a great one. But instead of like you could do candy going up to that, maybe like getting like little bite-sized candies every single day or something fancy little candy.
30 costumes for your dog.
There you go. The one I was going to say, but it's already is being done really, are horror movies. So each day is a different horror movie. Oh. And actually on HBO this year for Halloween leading up to it, they had a setup where each day they had 3 different sections. You had like super horror, scary movie, kind of a middle ground, and then kids. And each day is a different movie.
Oh, that's really cool.
So you kind of figure out which one you want to be.
Pick your level of Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and man. I thought that was really cool.
I love that, yeah.
And leading up to Halloween and then like maybe having all from like day 1 to day 30, you have all these different horror movies. And then on Halloween, you just stream and do and binge all the Halloween movies. And
that's the ultimate.
That's your
like
ultimate
the Halloween
end,
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So I was going to say, I wondered what your ultimate was going to be.
Your Friday the 13th, your Grudge, your Saws, like all that leads up to Friday the 13th. Or not Friday the 13th, to Halloween. And you can do the original, just do the original or do a binge of all of them. Because I know there's like 6 at this point, so.
Yeah. Your mileage may vary, right?
Yes.
Man, that's a really good idea. And you're right. It is kind of something that almost already exists.
Yeah.
So
and they do the same thing with Christmas too. Actually, they do like Christmas, like what is it,
Christmas
the 25
movies,
days of Christmas or whatever it is.
Haley and I just watch our two. I'm until recently I was a bit of a Scrooge about Christmas movies and music. I'm rehabilitated, but we still watch each her and my one mandatory Christmas movie, which respectively hers is The Santa Claus with Tim Allen and mine is Die Hard.
Oh God,
we might have talked about this last year.
We definitely did. We had a vote contest and everything on it.
Oh yeah, that's right, we did. Yeah,
we do the same thing because we do like hers is Santa Claus, mine's Home Alone.
Another good, not quite Christmas.
Exactly. And then I think we do a couple others, like we do Elf maybe or something like that to kind of mix in as well. But cool. I know for sure we do Home Alone and Santa Claus. I think Santa Claus is actually like Christmas Eve.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, we just kind of do it when we can slot it in. Okay, so for me...
Yeah, what do you got?
I took a more pragmatic approach. I was like, I was trying to think about another holiday with like a really good, like... Because for some reason, my first thought was like St. Patty's. Because I was like, well, like, you could do another beer thing pretty easy. St. Patty's is about drinking to begin with. But like, really, the advent calendar, like chocolate, isn't really a part of Christmas.
Yeah.
Like inherently, like beer isn't like it might be for your Christmas. Like we got chocolate in our stockings or whatever, but it's like, definitely it's disconnected. It's not like to count down to St. Patty's Day, you would have to eat 30 days of Irish food, which might be awful, actually.
Well, technically they only do 17 days of it because St. Patrick's Day is on the 17th. So it wouldn't be as bad.
Well, so in any event, like I was like, oh, maybe not. But then it got me thinking just about the timing of St. Patty's Day. So I would say I would either pick possibly maybe actually Easter. Okay. Since it already has the Lent thing anyway that you could count down to, or the 4th of July, or maybe St. Patty's Day, but just something on the opposite end of the year from Christmas. So, like a half birthday sort of thing where it's like, you about every 6 months you get a 30-day countdown to something. That's how I would pick it. So I think Easter might actually be the closest to achieving a crisp
June,
30 days.
June would technically be your 6 month part.
Because Easter's what, like end of April, early May? And... yeah, so maybe 4th of July would be better then.
Yeah.
Maybe 4th of July.
That would be a very American thing to do, to just make a advent calendar for America.
Could be all like hokey America things. Yeah, that could be really good. That could be really good.
Write these down.
Yeah.
Copyright. We copyright them now.
We're going to do a 30-day countdown to every holiday.
Well, I was thinking one even doing like college football, countdown to college football starting within the final 30 days to it.
Which should be a holiday.
Which should be, yeah.
All right, well, so that's enough about other holidays. Let's start talking about Christmas. Ryan, why don't you take us away? What are we discussing here?
So, for those who possibly don't know, Advent calendar, as we kind of described, is on beginning of December, you usually have some contraption that holds treats or something you'll get. And
treats is a good word.
Treats is a better word.
It can be anything. Yeah. Could be a toy, could be food, could be booze.
Yeah, exactly. That you open up a little door and you see what's inside and you get whatever's inside for that day.
And they're numbered, and for some godforsaken reason, the numbers are always shuffled and out of order.
Yes.
They have to. That is like
it makes it so difficult to find things.
Dude, it's so hard.
But so what I really wanted to go with on this was trying to do something with beer. Like we talked about what we've done in the past. So like we've done a beer one before, but it's a strictly German beer version, and you can only have the same brew style so many times on the same calendar.
Right. So maybe we should back up for a sec. So for obviously Christmas is kind of a weird holiday in that it's like technically a Christian holiday, but it's become very secularized, and it's just kind of like something that a lot of people who you don't need to be Christian to celebrate Christmas or to like do the Santa Claus thing and give your kids presents or whatever. Yeah. And so the Advent calendar kind of goes along with that. And as originally, I don't know what like historically Advent calendars were. They probably weren't treats. They were probably like,
I think the little toys.
Little toys. Yeah. But then like for a long time, chocolate has sort of been the the go-to advent calendar thing. You can just buy a pre-filled chocolate one. But lately, there has been an increase in like all these crazy like perfume advent calendars, and like with particularly the ones we're talking about, there have been like beer and wine advent calendars and whiskey advent calendars, some of which are only 12 days, some of which are 30.
Mm-hmm.
Uniformly, most of which are very expensive.
Yes.
but yeah, and so that's the one that we have done is like an imported German beer advent calendar that you can get at Costco.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $60, but you get like a nice can of German beer every day.
Big can too. Now there's like a little can or a regular size can. It was a big boy. Yeah.
And it was cool because none of them were like Weihenstephan or like Paulaner or like the beers that you actually
had a hard time pronouncing these beers.
Yeah, they were like not beers that typically
umos and stuff like that. Yeah.
So it was a really cool thing.
But like I said, there was like 4 of the same style of beer, and like they were obviously very traditional because it's German. Where like, so you had one, and then 3 days later you had the same style again. It's like, well, this tastes like the last one that I just had 3 days ago. Yeah.
My other complaint, the first year in particular.
Oh yeah.
Because of I think the long storage times and stuff, some of them tasted a bit metallic and canny.
Yeah.
And that wasn't great.
Yeah.
Didn't love that.
So I did look this up just now. So the first printed advent calendar was early 20th century Germany. And they were doing small candies with it at that point.
Okay.
And then you do you can do candies, you can do Bible verses, you can do toys, stuff like that. Looks like those are the main ones that you use for an advent calendar. But what I want to do is I want to do kind of a proper beer advent calendar.
We're gonna perfect this idea of the beer advent calendar.
We're gonna start with what we can't find. We'll start with that. So the one thing that I wish that I would love to find, and I think would be super easy to do, is find a craft beer advent calendar. So you get a distributor around this area to take the beers that they distribute, especially even local, and just put them into this box and ship it out to places to buy, especially a liquor store, something like that. I feel like it would go very well.
Yeah. That's an interesting... So because you could do something like a all Michigan beers advent calendar or all California beers advent calendar and sell it locally. You don't even have to transport the beer very far.
No, not at all. And the other thing I would like to find that I can't find anywhere, you can find disposable versions, but you can buy, especially on Etsy or Amazon, a box that you can use for beer advent calendar that you can build yourself, but it is a one-time use and they're not cheap still.
Right.
So you're spending $20-$30 on one of these things, yet you use only once, and you still have to fill it with beer. So
interesting. Okay, so let's take the first point first.
Okay.
So we when we talked to the folks at GravCap, they in season 1, they mentioned that as part of their kind of strategy to get through the pandemic, they were doing advent calendars, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that idea. But you got to figure, GravCap did not have 30 beers.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was only a 12-day calendar. Maybe they did have 12 beers. And the half month thing, that's great. Because for some people it can be a bit of I know my dad has tried to do this with us, and it's a bit of an ordeal for him to try and drink a beer every day for 30 days because it's just so far outside his normal habits.
Especially with those German beers too.
And they were tall, but so it'd be interesting. Yeah, it's it has been done, the really hyper local single brewery one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it seems like it would almost peak if it were imagine a Warren, Michigan area brew. You could just do that. You could do Kunin, Dragon Mead, and then when it was still there, Falling Up.
Yeah,
Three breweries falling down.
Yes.
Yeah. Falling Up is a band. Sorry, but 3 breweries together, you each supply 10. That'd be easily doable, and that would be really cool. Imagine selling that in stores in Warren. They could do some of their deeper cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind is like, yeah, you could do like all throughout Michigan, 30 different breweries, each supply one beer.
Yes.
That'd be incredible. Like do it by state, but doing hyper local could be really cool too.
Yeah.
I don't know how difficult it would be logistically.
Yeah, I mean it's something that you, because we have our father-in-law. We are going to do an advent calendar this year for whiskeys and other liquors, and he's actually building the reusable, which is the key one for I've seen.
Point number two
is a reusable one where it's a tree, it stands up, and you have a little spot for each little bottle. You slide it on in. He even painted the top of the bottles caps, so when it comes out of the tree, they look like ornaments, and they're like red and green and red and blue and yellow and stuff like that. So that it looks really good. That's the other issue that you don't find. Like I've seen reusable ones with liquor. I've seen reusable ones with wine and other things, but like with beer, it always seems like it's a box that you just open each one, and it's like,
and it feels like there's a missed opportunity. Like it would have to be a pretty dang big tree and very sturdy to hold all this beer. But imagine if someone did the same thing where it was like 30 bottles. I'm imagining this would maybe be a nightmare to ship, but like whatever. It's like a 30 pack. So what? Like, yeah. But in any event, like just imagine where like the bottle caps are the ornaments.
Yes.
It could look so cool on like a very large tree.
Now imagine this though. You said 30 pack. Imagine every year a bigger company, we'll say like a Bud or Miller or something like that, does it with their beers.
Yeah, because they all have huge catalogs of craft beer.
They do, yeah, with all underneath them. So they can do that, and they already build boxes. So you just have a box that can have random beers in there. You don't know if it's going to be a Bud or if it's going to be one of the like sub companies that they own. And then like you just open it up, and it's like, oh, it's unreusable, unfortunately. But as a service, as a company, you sell that with beers in it.
Oh, okay, but so. What about this though? What if it was like a subscription service where like when you sign up, you pay for the reusable thing. They send you the thing. Mm-hmm. Then let's pretend you're just doing the 12-day version instead of it's not. I've said 30 about a million times. It is a 24-day thing because Christmas is on the 25th. So I'm an idiot, but actually 24 is even more convenient too because they make 24-pack boxes. So then you ship someone just a box of beer every year as part of the subscription, and they plop it into the reusable thing that they paid for when they signed up. So like you get a tree once, you can order a replacement if it breaks, but then the subscription just gets you the beer, and they just send you the beer every year. Dude, I would absolutely sign up for something like that. That'd be so cool.
Now, I think we'll take a break in this a little bit and then dive more into other ideas, because I do have a ton of other ideas to go with this, and I don't want to go too much into everything of all our ideas before the break. But the other issue that I've seen a lot is going to be like you were saying, the size is going to be an issue, because like when we had the German beer one, that thing was up to my hip on how high it was,
and there was like just wasn't a good. It was like okay looking, but it was made out. It was a cardboard box.
Yeah, it didn't.
So by the time you'd opened up a bunch of them, it was like, where do we put this? It's too heavy to hang on the wall.
Yes.
Like ours just ended up in like an awkward corner.
I was gonna say mine was in the garage where it was cold, so I didn't have to worry about refrigerating it.
Smart.
But like, even if it was like something like that, and it wasn't a reusable thing, but you still like as a company still did it every single year, I'm fine with that too. But I like your idea actually a lot more. I didn't even think about doing it like that. But let's do quick break, and we're gonna come up back with some more ideas, and I think on not just a national level, a local level, a single brewery level, and even a homebrew level. I have ideas for. I know. So with that said, I just grabbed the rest of a beer that we had tried before. You have nothing, but I'm gonna cheers anyway. Cheers.
I've got dregs. Cheers to dregs.
Hey, this is TC.
And this is Jim from the Studio Demands It podcast,
Where every episode we take a demand from a hypothetical studio,
which could be you,
and challenge ourselves to conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film based on the stipulations
or the demands
we are given. We talk about movies all the time. Particularly, we complain about the choices made in the films we've seen.
We're nerds like that.
And, of course, like any good nerd does, we automatically assume that we could do better.
Even with the demands and restrictions that clearly must have been put on by a production.
So head on over to studiodemandsit.com and listen to our previous library of episodes. Our library of previous episodes. Our precious library, Jim. Our library of precious episodes.
You're a pirate, Smeagol.
Okay, so head on over to studiodemandsit.com to listen to our library of episodes.
And submit your demand for a future episode, too.
So go do that.
Okay, bye.
Okay, end of ad.
Jake, have you ever been looking for a definitive Nintendo ranking and can't seem to find it because it's just everybody's own opinion?
Honestly, all the time, Sam.
Well, I'm looking for someone to give us the answers.
Wait, you mean like a podcast made by two young, handsome men where they create a definitive top 5 list of all things Nintendo?
Should we just do it ourselves?
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Let's give it a shot. I'm Sam.
And I'm Jake.
And at Top 5 Nintendo, I'm going to give you my top 5 list.
And I'm going to give you my top 5 list.
And then we're going to duke it out and see what the real top 5 is.
And we are back, and we are going to discuss ways we, or everybody, I'm using royal we, can solve this issue of a proper advent calendar. We kind of discussed a little bit.
A beer advent calendar.
A strictly beer advent calendar.
We're going to idealize on multiple levels, you said, right?
Yes.
We're going to idealize every level of beer advent calendar.
So I'm going to start from the top, and then we'll work our way to the smaller guys like us. So we're going to do the opposite of Drake. And so, thank you. I'm glad you got to go out of that. So we're going to start with the big Budweiser and Miller and even Sam Adams, the bigger distributors that are around the country, who own other breweries as well. And what they can do is we kind of discuss where your idea. I actually love your idea, where like a subscription, you get a reusable thing that you can do every single time, and then you get a box from them. And I think this would only mostly work with a bigger distributor like a Budweiser or a Miller, because they have so many more options that they can use.
Right.
And I think one thing would be really good with this is if you're like Sam Adams, and I think I talked about this in a previous episode. It might have just been just us talking in general, but I talked about at Sam Adams, they brew random beers sometimes that don't actually make it into production, but they could use that advent calendar to test those beers out into a major public area.
Oh man, you could even have a rating sheet and then like give people like a discount if they submit it or something like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, dude. So we need to be execs in a major beer company. We can make them so much money.
Yes. So like with a company like Budweiser, or even Sam Adams, who might own other companies within them, they can put in your Boston Lager. You can put in your Oktoberfest. You can put in the winter lager as well.
And that would give you some valid data on how those are aging. You know, like are people's taste shifting away from these beers? You know, maybe you could get a sense for that before your sales tank too hard.
And then you can try your random porters, your sours or something like that.
What did you call it?
Someone's probably not going to buy a 6-pack of it, but they might try one, and then that might lead to them buying more.
And they'll be so likely to try it if it's like part of a program they're already doing, where they're like, I'm just trying whatever they give me every night. Yeah, man, that is a genius idea. I love that. And here is actually, so another almost the opposite sort of thing, is if it's a big company and it's a subscription, they could offer like customization. So like, you know, I have those, I'm going to plug these, I think it's called like Pocket Java or whatever, you know, like those little like coffee bars I have. So they're basically these like, they're like chocolate bars, but they're made from like dehydrated coffee mostly. Then there's a little bit of cocoa and stuff in them, but it's like a bar where you eat the bar and you get like the amount of caffeine that is in a cup of coffee. And
a bar is a cup of coffee, or
a
was
bar
it
is
square?
a cup of coffee.
I
No,
thought
the whole
square.
bar. It's the whole bar. But they're really good. Oh man. Pocket latte.
That's it.
Yeah. But so they have you can buy like, so they have 4 varieties. There's milk and sugar, there's lavender, there's hazelnut, and there's dark roast. So they offer like a variety pack, or you can get specific. If you are vegan, then the milk and sugar isn't for you, but you can get the other 3 in a pack.
Yeah.
If you want one specifically, you can order that one.
Okay.
So I'm thinking like, you know, someone like Budweiser or even Sam Adams could probably do something where it's like, do you want the full sampler? Do you want the hophead sampler? Do you want the I hate hops sampler? You know, or even just like, you know, maybe you fill out you know, it's like one of those wine services where they send you wine every month.
yeah.
But it's like you click your preferences and then they give you some options. They're like, based on what you said, we think you might like these choices. And then you pick from a set of prefab choices. So it's not like custom for everybody, but they can still kind of give you, you're not going to do a sampler that has 10 IPAs in it when you hate hops or whatever.
I think that actually goes to my next one. I was going to say is, as a distributor who has a little more power, because like they could distribute Budweiser as well, but they're to distribute the tiny microbrewery that's also in your area. They could work something together, go to all these breweries, be like, hey, we're going to do an advent calendar. You want in, you want out, and let us know what you want us to sample. And then as a distributor, you can do a hophead pack. You can do a dark and stormy pack that's more dark beers and everything else. You can do a lager pack or something like that that's lighter. Or you can do, as a distributor, you can do all locals, you can do all mainstream. Like you can do that as a distributor. I think it'd be really good. Like Powers, which is in our area, needs to hop on this train.
Get on this train and give us 5%.
And give us 5% of sales. That's not doing that. We're not asking too much.
But or just give us free subscriptions to the service. That'd be great.
Give us 1%. And then a free subscription as well.
There you go.
There we go.
But so the other thing too is like, okay, so if we go back to the subscription thing where you are sent a reusable thing and then you're just sent either a 12 or a 24 pack of bottles, all you have to do is just like shove some bottles into a 6-pack thing and just send it. Like they don't even like the different options wouldn't be that bad. Yeah. You know, because it's not like they all have to be slotted into a Christmas tree or whatever. You just like shove a bunch of them into a box and then send the box.
Exactly.
You know?
Like the German one that we had.
Just
like
a mixed
literally, just send a box out to people to try, and you can sell it at liquor stores. And like I guarantee you, liquor stores would sell out instantly with that stuff from either level of like as a main brewery or as a distributor pack, something like that. I think that would work perfectly.
All right. So this is a bit of an aside, but like,
okay, go.
Because of what Rich is making for us, the Christmas tree, which I think is a brilliant idea.
Brilliant, yes.
But let's branch out a little bit, because everything I've thought of, I'm imagining slotting things into a Christmas tree. What other cool, like, okay, if you either had cans or bottles, what other cool things could you do aside from ornaments on a Christmas tree? Can you think of anything?
You could do almost garland-like. So instead of like random spots on the tree, you kind of line them up, and you have to like get similar color bottle tops. So like Three Floyds, obviously, we're drinking that right now, but like that's a weird bottle cap. But like Budweiser is a red. Find red stripe. Red, like you just get a string of red caps, a string of blue caps, a string of green caps, or something like that. I think that would be a cool way of doing that.
Although actually, that would feed into like doing a Christmas tree really well too. If you just had like, okay, we're doing blue, red, and yellow or whatever, and like so it looks kind of like not like there's 24 different colored ornaments. It looks like there's only 3 colors and they just repeat. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. A garland thing would be cool. I was trying to think too, like, is there a way where, you know, they could make it almost like you kind of stack them up and then you pull off this and like make a, I don't know.
Build the tree out of the bottles itself?
Yeah. Or something like that. And then you
almost
just
like a wire frame.
Then you just deconstruct it slowly or whatever.
The only I think that would actually work because
then it would just
if you
look worse and worse, though. That would, but so does a normal advent calendar because you
Yeah, I'm about to say you have all the popped open things. I think like if you start from the bottom and there and you work your way up to the top, and so like you'll do 5 on the bottom, and then you do a few less on the next one, a few less, and then you have the last one.
There could be ways to mitigate that. Like maybe there's just a printed version of the can underneath the can, or it just looks like a tree. So it's like a tree you're slowly pulling the ornaments off of or something, and then all that's left is the star on top.
And like
Stella Artois.
There every single year it's Stella.
Or isn't there a beer that literally just has like a star as its
Sapporo, I think actually is.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But the thing you can do with that too is you talked about like a set thing that you can reuse. That's a cheap thing to make because it's just a wire frame and you can build up, and you can collapse it down even too. As a beer provider for that calendar, you send the beer for that one and you randomly number them to put them in the right spot. So like it's not like I get my bottles. I'm like, well, this one isn't really something I want to drink, so I'm gonna put it randomly on this spot that I might not actually get to because it's a Monday and I have to work late, so it might be skipped. Instead, it's like randomly put into, because as a distributor or brewery, you label them to go, okay, this is number 1. You put that in the spot 1. Yeah. This is number 22. This goes in spot 22. So I think that's a really cheap and easy way without doing this a box. That's you have to reuse, or you can't reuse every single year.
Right. Yeah. You just give people the numbers and they can sort it in themselves.
Yep.
Yeah. So another idea occurs to me. If you are a distributor, maybe this is something, I don't actually know if this is something a distributor would be able to do, but imagine like for the real craft beer lover, the connoisseur, the pilgrimage maker of craft beer drinkers. What if like you could pay an exorbitant amount, like $300 or something, and get an advent calendar that was all full of like from around the USA, just rare, hard to find or very special aged beers, where it was like for the month of December, each time you were getting like, we just recorded our, well, I guess we're moving backwards now, but so never mind. I won't bother talking about it, but like imagine something like Russian River where like they have like these aged sours that are, like they're really special, or like Three Floyd's Dark Lord where they have like a release day for it and it's like this really special thing, or just something like that, or like a Grand Cru, like Dragon Mead used to have their Armageddon only came out once a year.
Yep.
And it ages really well, like because it's so strong, you can theoretically keep it around for like a couple of years.
I still have a bottle.
Yeah, so imagine
I need to drink.
You
that
could do
soon.
a premium thing for connoisseurs where they're like getting like just Grand Crus from all over the nation, and they're all just collated together, and you pay a premium price.
I don't know if like, because like Powers, which is in our area for distributing, only really does Southeast Michigan. So like I don't know if they would have the ability to go down to like Kentucky and getting some random bourbon aged beer or something like that, or go out to the West Coast and find something that's super hoppy or some kind of crew or something like that to put in there. So it's
yeah, you're right. Like logistically,
I don't think they had the full power.
It could be tricky.
I think that'd be more for like a Budweiser that owns a small brewery that does have that ability. Does have that.
Sam Adams Utopias on the 24th. Yeah,
I'm in. I've been wanting to try that beer for so long.
Start saving now, Ryan. It's $300.
Oh my god!
It probably might be more for like 24, because some of those, I mean, I don't know, expensive beers can run like $10-15 a bottle for like the really expensive ones.
I just realized
probably worse, but that's just my experience.
Another group that could do this same thing is a brew hub type place, like a Hopcat. A Hopcat could just go out and just like do like stock a whole bunch of like boxes of advent calendars. They have
like a
beers.
Bottle shop or something.
Yeah, like someplace that just has a ton of bottles or cans that they can then just load into an advent calendar they build or they buy or whatever.
I wonder legally if they can, because I know like the license for like selling packaged beer isn't the same as for.
Well,
I
like
don't know that. I think that.
Well, I know, like, because I used to go to a place that's in Rochester. It's called, I forgot what it's called. Hold on.
The Mecca?
No, that's just a store. This is like a restaurant. Oh, Clubhouse BFD. So they made it so like you can like order a draft beer, or they had it on can or bottle. You can get it as well, but you can also build your own 6-pack of whatever
take
they
it home
have
with
on
you.
bottles.
Oh.
So why not do kind of like that with an advent calendar? It's going to be pricey as hell, because I know
But
like
that's kind of what we're talking.
Yeah.
Like we're talking for the premium.
yeah,
Yeah,
and you
like-
will get premium stuff at a place like that.
Yeah, and I think there would be a market for it.
Mhm.
You know, like I mean, honestly, it's once a year.
Yeah,
You know, if I thought I was getting $400 worth of beer and I was only paying $250, I might do it.
Yeah, no, and like, but also like as a company, like, okay, so we have to buy, say, like 5,000 of these buildable like paper or cardboard advent calendar boxes that we have to fold up, fill with, and then have out there to sell for, we'll say $250.
Right.
Like there's that 5,000 or whatever they buy will be gone, guaranteed. Even at a small place like Clubhouse BFD, like it will be gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. That's another level of it. Now the next level would be a microbrewery, so like a Dragon Mead,
Okay.
a kickstand,
So a
or something like that.
single microbrewery?
Single microbrewery.
Okay.
The first thing I would say is they could team up. Obviously, like you said, with like a Warren
Do it in,
area
like, a
version,
city, yeah.
city area, something like that. So like, I think that would be an easier way to if you don't have a lot of brewers, like
Yeah.
something like Kunin or Dragon Mead obviously has plenty
Well,
of
and
beers
not-
to do them
And
themselves.
not every brewery like Dragon Mead prides themselves on having like a crap ton
Exactly,
of beers available at once. Not every brewery's like that. You know,
Mhm.
they might have 6 to 8
Yeah.
at once or whatever. But the other thing that I think is cool about that is I think as like craft beer drinkers really value the collaborative spirit of the industry, where it's like
Mhm.
all the I remember like back when you and I used to like work the Dragon Mead stand at
Oh, yeah.
at
The
beer
good days.
fests, and like the folks from Kunin would just like wander over and ask if we wanted one of their beers,
Yep.
and like they'd you know it was just like very clear. Like I remember I think it was the owner like showing his wife one of Dragon Mead's beers and being like, oh, you gotta try this one's
Yes.
so good.
Yes.
And it's like this is really positive like collaborative thing where
And
they
even
all
outside the city too, like
they all want each other to
Mhm.
succeed.
like there I remember going to them before, and breweries like I barely heard of, like working with each other
Yeah.
in different parts of the state.
And they're like, yeah, now it's
Yeah.
becoming common to do like collaborative brews,
Yes,
and
mhm.
so I know at least I do, and I think a lot of craft beer people like that about the industry, that it's not like cutthroat. It's everyone wants everyone
Yes.
else to succeed because it's good for everyone.
Now I know there are some out there across, and it's
I'm sure
probably
there are
across the country that
exceptions,
is like, that's my way or the highway, but like, yeah, they're are out there no matter what.
But I guess my point is that I would think that that part of us as like craft beer drinkers that likes that would love like a local collaborative thing where it's like, oh, like look, it's like the 3 microbrews and we all love each other and we did a calendar together. Like,
And so
I think that would sell.
I think exactly. I think it's a great for as a microbrewery, especially if you're working together for a smaller one, to get some beers out there for people to try and then come to the brewery. But also if you have an idea for a random beer, to
They can do the same thing, solicit
exactly.
feedback. Yeah.
Put in there and see how they like it. If they get some people who then come in, it's like, hey, I had this advent calendar and I had this lager you guys made. Like, is it available? And like, no, it was an experiment. We want to see how it was. And then when you have people coming in asking for it, you know to make it.
Yeah.
So, and then you can try variations. So like if you're doing a stout or porter and you're like, okay, let's make a chocolate, coconut, raspberry, and do variations of this same beer.
So that's a really interesting point. Okay, so my Bush and I, like my roommate that I used to
Yeah.
brew with,
Mhm.
we tried once. We made a stout, and we split it into thirds, and we made one of them. We added cherry to
Mhm.
one of them chocolate, and then one of them stayed the way that it was.
Okay.
And we we like split one batch into 3.
Mhm.
That could be a really interesting way for a smaller microbrewery to make an advent calendar feasible. You know,
Mhm.
like take orders early in the year so
Yeah.
you know what you're gonna have to
How many boxes you need to order? Yeah.
how much beer you need to make, basically. But then you could make, even if you're doing a 24 pack, that means you could make as few as 8 beers if each of the beers had 3 looks.
Exactly,
Probably it's going to be, you're not going to be able to do 3 looks for every beer, but like you could do that. Like the Dragon Mead, you can buy Under the Kilt, or you can buy barrel aged Under the Kilt.
Yep.
Those are very different beers, and if you put all the kind of special stuff, the tweaked stuff near the end, it's like they get to try your base lineup, and then they get to try these interesting riffs on your beers later in the month. Like that could be a cool way for a brewery without 12 or 24 distinct recipes to still round out a calendar.
Yeah. And I think
try some stuff.
Yeah, and I think it'll be great publicity for a lot of the smaller microbrewers out there, because like you do have the big names like a Dragme or Kunin or Elysium or blanking on a lot of them, Atwater. Like a lot of these microbreweries in this state are known, but there's a lot of them that like I've never probably heard of.
And there's an obscene amount.
Oh, for sure. And they come and go.
Dunk town in Michigan has a microbrewery these days.
Doesn't have one actually. I learned this last night. Grosse Pointe does not have really a brewery. They have Atwater in the Park, but they don't actually have like an actual brewery for themselves.
Distinct.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least they brew at Atwater in the Park.
They do. They do some of their own stuff.
And they do
but
some unique stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it half counts. But yeah, you're right. That's interesting.
I'm about to say,
you're right. They don't have like an independent, only their unique spot.
And like some place like St. Clair Shores has like 4 of them. So
maybe that's why Grosse Pointe doesn't have more than one, because they can just hike up to St. Clair Shores.
Yeah, it's not that far. So now let's bring it to us homebrewers. And I think this is the hardest one, because obviously, like, I brew 6 beers in a year. And they will not, and by the time I get to winter, I'm probably going to only have 2 for my winter stock. And that's it. I think this is where it comes down to what you were saying, actually, with you and Bush doing those separate variations of a beer.
Yeah.
And like, because I have a ton of those 1 gallon growlers. I can do a 1 gallon batch, like split it up into each 1 gallon, and then put whatever flavoring I want into the secondary.
Interesting. Yeah. So you would focus on 1 beer, 5 looks or whatever. Yeah. Like here's a real base recipe. I can take a lot of different directions, and I'm going to take it a lot. I'm going to do a 5 gallon batch, 5 different, one of them stays the same. The other 4 get interesting things added to them. Wood chips, cherries, whatever.
And I think another good idea that could go with that as well as homebrewers is like kind of like what we're doing right now with the one with our father-in-law. Like we each have an X amount that we have to add into the calendar, but with beer, obviously it's a little more difficult. But so you could do your beers that you have, and then maybe of this microbrew or another beer that's like super, 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 super good. You want to share it.
Your brother-in-law who also brews.
Well, yeah. Well, no, so I'm saying like even if you and I did one collaborative,
it'd be hard to fill out a full month.
Exactly, but
even
if we each did say 3 of our own, so that's 6. But we decide to go into a brew store and be like, oh my God, this beer right here. I don't know if Ryan's had it yet. I'm gonna grab this beer and then we add it to our calendar. So like
as well, it's like
fill in.
Yeah, we're sort of doing it on a very small scale. It's going to maximum 3 or 4 people. So we could buy like beers that we think those other people would like.
And if we get more people into it, so say like it's us, and then we get like my buddy Chris who brews as well.
Some of those lagers.
Some of the lagers that he does, yeah. And then we get one of Mal's friends, Micah, who brews as well. She does a lot of good and crazy flavors.
Right now, all of a sudden, we've got 4 people to fill out a 12-day advent calendar. It's just 3 beers. That's
exactly.
Easy. Yeah.
And if you want to go to the full 24, you can still put in like those little fillers. Like if I know there's this weird like porter that somehow tastes like strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla, I'm going to throw it in there for other people to try because I know it's good. It took you a minute to figure that one out.
Check it off the big, because isn't it a stout, Neapolitan stout?
No, it's a porter actually.
What?
Yeah, it's a nitro porter. Well, you can get a nitro.
You cray. Okay. Check it off the bingo card.
Yes.
Ryan talked about the Neapolitan
I'm waiting for you to say Brewosophy still. I'm waiting.
Right now you've said it.
But
They don't
but
talk
yeah.
about advent calendars.
But yeah, I think that's a great way
unique in
to. And then like as the four of us doing it, we each get a box. We send each other. We get each other our bottles. We send it to each other, so they have like all of ours, and we open each box each one each day, and we whoever it was, we explain. Oh yeah, this one's mine. It's a Goron Spice Ale. It's a spicy ale with Serrano and Poblanos. And then you come in. It's like, oh yeah, this is my take on Anchor Steam. It's got this in it. It's a close
That'd be
clone.
really fun.
Yeah,
actually.
And then if it's one of the ones that you purchase that in, you'd be like, oh yeah, this is a cool like lager that I found that has like dragon fruit in it or something like that. And it's like you kind of just add all these different things.
So the one consideration for this would be that, especially homebrew, like where depending on who you are, your bottling process is more or less successful at keeping oxygen out.
Valid.
These beers aren't going to have like ridiculously long shelf lives. So you're probably looking at whatever you're going to do. You're going to want to make it, I would say, at least within 6 months of Christmas. If it's a hoppy ale, even closer probably, to make sure it's really peak. You probably want it to be brewed within 2 or 3 months of Christmas.
Yeah.
So that'd be tricky, but you could strategize, maybe try and make the ones that are gonna tend to last longer and age better earlier, and then make the other ones closer to. I think this would be fun to do, actually.
Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued.
Haley and I, for a while, got into the habit of, we had 2 or 3 brews in a row where we like took a portion of it and bottled it. When just before we kegged, we would I basically transfer it into the keg, and then before we carbed it, I just on the tap, just like take out a gallon, and we just bottle that gallon. And bottling's a pain in the butt, but like if you just did that with a few of your beers, like I think it would be doable.
We need to get those those wands that you attach to your keg or your kegerator.
Yeah, like a bottling. So
yeah.
I've like rigged up one, but I've never tried it. I've been really curious about it because I basically have, those little it's just like a little bottle filler wand, like that goes on the end of a siphon. I have one of those, but then I got this rubber stopper that fits over it, and then it just can kind of jam into one of those little hand picnic taps like Rich has.
Oh yeah.
So you just kind of rig all that up, and what you can basically do is just like jam that on and then like fill the bottle up. And I have all the stuff to do it. I've just never tried it.
There was a guy.
I've never had like a good reason to try it, but you're right. Like if we could just bottle off the tap, that would be so much easier. We would just need to be confident that, like, I would be nervous that beer bottled off the tap where it's not, you're not like bottle conditioning it, that it would stay good for like months.
Yeah, that is the issue.
That'd be a
that comes
tricky
down
thing.
to it. Yeah, I think the best way, especially if you want to hold on, maybe like you brew something early in the year and you want to hold on to it for doing an advent calendar like this with this home brewers. I think you would have to bottle first, like a small batch, like you were saying, like pull a gallon out and bottle that right away, so it kind of stays off to the side and isn't bothered by anything else. And then when you get to that point, hopefully, as long as it's not contaminated, it should be fine. But like obviously, I know there's always more issues that come when you bottle.
Yeah,
depending on how clean the bottles are and caps and everything.
This is really making me want to do this.
I kind of want to wait because I know
I was just like sitting there while you were talking. I almost kind of daydreamed for a second. I was like, how often does Micah brew? Like, could we make this happen?
She doesn't brew.
Because if we committed to just doing a 12er, that's everybody's only responsible for 4. Say you bottled like a 6-pack of each. We could do 6 calendars. Six people could get 12 distinct beers.
And we can add more, and then when we add more people to it, we can extend it to a 24-pack or 24-day calendar. So whenever Rich starts brewing after he retires and everything,
he could just he could put like a little bottle of whiskey in there.
Yeah. And then like even like I can reach out to Micah and Chris and see how interested they would be in doing something like this. I think the issue would be, and again we can go to Rich for this, is getting a stand or something that can be reusable or something like that can be used.
But even like, okay, like if I would say for me, now that would be ideal, having a stand or something. But even if it was just a box of beer and all the caps were numbered, it would still be a lot of fun. The numbers could be out of order still, you know, like it would still be fun. You know, maybe we would all agree beforehand on like colors. You know, maybe it's like if there's 3 of us, we do red, white, and green. You know, each
I got a ton of caps in there of all
color.
different kinds of colors. So I got the green Brewers basic caps. I got black. I got gold and silver.
Yeah, but
orange.
like we just pick Christmas.
I got American flag even if you want to go.
I can see it from here. Yeah. But yeah, and like, you know, just like pick Christmas colors or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That could be fun.
Maybe for next year we reach out, because I know we are planning on doing an episode with Chris this year, talking about lagering, but that's further down this season. So definitely can talk to him about it.
Yeah.
We can definitely talk to him about it.
Corner him on air.
Yeah.
You can't say no.
Don't listen to this episode, Chris. You don't want to get planned for this attack.
Yeah.
Well, I think this gave a lot of ideas, not even just for us, but I feel like if someone at Powers is listening, give us 1% and
they definitely
do
are.
this. Yes, yeah, you know, someone is.
They must be.
Or even as like some
we are
brewery.
freely publishing this podcast, so they will have no legal reason to pay us anything. But
Yeah, or even like if GravCap does, like I know GravCap listens to it every so often, and like they heard this and like, okay, who Lake Orion brewers, like what breweries, what do you want to do? You want to like put something together so we can all kind of work together and do this.
now I'm kind of curious what their strategy was. Like, was it 12 different beers? Did they like double up? I'm curious how they made theirs work.
I don't remember them telling about that. I might have to go through and listen. Well, no, that was probably off air, wasn't it?
Well, I'm not sure that they got into that level of detail. They said they did one, but we never asked like how they filled it out. But I'm curious because that could, it'd be interesting. You know, like we were talking about how a single microbrewery or multiple might go about this, but they did go about it. So it would be interesting to kind of hear like what their approach was, how they made it work.
Now, I do have a quick question actually for you, because you do say 12 a lot. I've never seen a 12-day one. How do you do every other day?
I think it's just like the latter half of the month. I've never done one, but I have heard of them because like some of the like the whiskey and wine ones, just because they are expensive, will be
as we are doing 24 for ours.
Yeah, they'll just be 12 days. Well, this isn't. Ours is less expensive because we're just pouring a little off the top. To provide some context, what we are doing is there's 3 of us. It's a 24-day advent calendar. We passed out bottles, so each of us agreed basically that we've taken 8 days.
I still gotta fill mine.
So 8 times 3. So when you buy something new throughout the year, you just pour you fill 3 of these little small, like kind of traveler sized bottles, so that so you sacrifice a little bit out of every bottle you buy, and then by the end of the year the idea is that like you filled 8 days worth, but you filled them times 3, so that like the 3 of us each get 1 bottle. And then so between the 3 of us, we'll hopefully all end up with like 24 distinct.
We should. Yeah, I will get there. Don't worry.
I'm a little intimidated. I'm not going to lie by
no, I am too.
By 24 days of whiskey.
I know I'm going to be doing some of the mead with it, and I've already put some gin in there as well. Yeah. So it won't be all whiskey.
But still, just like, I don't know that there's ever been a point in my life, even in college, where I drank liquor 24 days in a row.
It's a
good reason.
No time better than now.
It's a good excuse. Yeah. No. Did you ever meet my Venezuelan roommate Miguel?
I have not, but I've heard plenty of stories. Yeah.
So he had like this. I think it was like a kind of culture wide saying, but it was something he would always say, like in Spanish. December is diciembre, and the word for to drink is beber. So they had this little like combination where like, basically December was just like drinking month. So they called it Baby Embre. And so it was just an excuse, like whenever, if just at an inopportune time, it was like, whatever, it was like a weeknight or we just like needed some excuse to crack open a beer. We would just all shrug and go, Es Baby Embre. So there it is. I guess that's what we'll be doing this year.
There we go.
It's Es Baby Embre.
Well, this episode turned out really good.
This was fun. I think that we need some consulting fees before we drop any more wisdom on anybody.
I'm about to say, we've been giving out too many ideas and people are going to make money off it. I'm a little sad.
If Powers or another large corporation would like to contact us,
or even a microbrewer that heard this episode,
we can be found on Twitter at Brewthers-In-Law or on our website at brewthers-inlaw.com. That is BREW.
And that's the only way.
ERS.
And that's the only way they can find you.
Inlaw.com.
Yes.
Yes. And so additionally, if people would like the Ryan Kuhn solo experience, where should they look?
I don't think they still want this. I'm on Twitter at Rambo Kuhn. That's RAMBOKUHN. And then for anything more brewing related, I am at Wise Old Owls Brew. And then for you Gen Zers who happen to be listening, I am on TikTok where I do videos of me brewing plus some fun videos of what famous fictional people would drink, like Gandalf would drink. Magic Hack number 9.
Got it.
And I am on there at Wise Old Owls Brew as well as I am on Twitter. So, and if you have any thoughts on how to build an advent calendar, if you have any ideas on other advent calendars you think are really cool.
If you have ever experienced a really unique one of these newfangled advent calendars that you really liked,
yes, let us know.
With us. Even if it's not, it doesn't have to be booze.
Yeah.
Like I said, I heard there was like a perfume one or something. Sounds expensive.
The wives are doing tea.
Haley and I did tea last year.
Yeah,
and it was really
I think they're doing
nice.
the same one. All the wives. So
yeah, we are.
Our mother-in-law.
I'm doing it too.
Oh, you're doing it too?
Well, I'm not getting a separate one, but like.
Oh yeah, you probably get some.
We just kind of like make a 1.5 cup.
Yeah.
With each bag, and then we have and have it. So you can do that with Mallory to wash down your whiskey with.
Exactly. So if you have any ideas or advent calendars you think are really cool, let us know. If you have any other comments about what we do, what we brew, or what we think about beer, which we're not professionals, so we're just going to give you our basic knowledge and what we know. Let us know. You can reach out to us on also on Apple Podcasts or YouTube, wherever our podcast is being played, and we will gladly read your comments online when we have them. But until then, next time we do this, we get together, I think, cheers.
Cheers.